ఒక్కళ్ళే వచ్చారా? నాకు ఒక్క దివ్య నాకు ఓకే. ఓకే. Yes. Okay, Radhakrishna, shall I start? Dear students, today we are going to start our discussion on international HRM. I think this knowledge will be of immense help for us to work in global organization. With that intention, we have included this subject in our course because you need to manage tomorrow human talent from different parts of the country, and with that intention, we have kept this particular subject. Uh, this happens to be our syllabus uh, in international HRM, and block one talks about the fundamental things relating to what is international HRM, what are the global issues and challenges involved in international HRM, and then we'll be talking about how to cross-cultural theories in international HRM. Then the second block, we are focusing on the various functional issues relating to human resource management pertaining to global HRM or international HRM. Uh, Please note that I'm using international HRM and global HRM in an interchangeable way. I'm using it that one right now. Then this block involves how to procure human resources internationally and how to develop people and how to retain people. Remember, whatever cross cultural theories that we are going to discuss, they'll be of immense help in understanding regarding procurement of human resources, development of human resources, and retention of human resources. Then, when we are recruiting people globally, there are several HR strategies we need to craft, and there are several organizational environment constraints will be there. These organizational and environment constraints we'll be discussing in block 3. In block 3 consists of HR strategies and organizational environment, then knowledge management applications. The reason being today's worker happens to be a knowledge worker. You have to you are managing the knowledge. See, the moment we say that the worker happens to be knowledge worker, the type of treatment that we have to give, first of all, as a human being, we have to give a different kind of treatment. You can't treat them like other factors of production. Human being is altogether different, and more so when we say that a human being happens to be a knowledge worker, you have to treat him in a different way. Therefore, how do you apply knowledge management applications in HR activities? We'll be discussing in Unit 3 or Block 3. Then, the Block 3, we will also be discussing about what's the changing environment of international human resource environment. These things we'll be discussing. This will be followed by various practices that are involved in different countries so far as HR is concerned. We will go to countries like US and Canada. We will visit European countries also where we will discuss their HR practices. Then we will come to Asian countries which are very near to us, and we will be discussing various HR practices that are involved so far as international HRM is concerned. Then the last blog focuses on international HRM and contemporary issues which are relating to international HRM, wherein we are going to discuss several aspects like IT and HRM, and the relationship between IT and HRM and international HRM contemporary issues. These are the things which we are going to focus in this particular subject. I think a knowledge of this subject will be of immense help to the people who are working in MNCs, who are managing human resources in MNCs. And when I use the word MNCs, let us not be under the impression I am referring to foreign countries only. All of us know that today even our Indian companies are higher. They have grown to that international level. There somebody was saying, I think if you can recollect um, Fredman, I think the world is flat. He was saying that we find USA in India as in law. Way back, he wrote that particular book. Say most of our people are staying in USA or working in USA or working for USA companies. Therefore, several cross cultural issues, international issues, they engulf these companies, and this knowledge will be of immense help to us. Then block 1, as I told you, we are focusing on the concept and scope of international HRM. What are the global issues and challenges we confront, and cross-cultural theories. These are the things we are likely to focus in this block 1. International human resource management challenges, functions, approaches. These are some of the things we'll try to focus today. In recent times, the trade barriers between nations have almost disappeared, especially due to technology. And all of us know today's competition is not just with our neighborhood organizations, but we are competing with international organizations. For that matter, in every facet of our activities, we are competing at international level. Even a writer is competing at international level. Movies, they are competing at international level. Then various business houses, they are competing at international level. The trade barriers, they have disappeared. That is the reason communication links have become faster and cheaper. There is a convergence of consumer taste too. The scarce resources of the nations have been moving around freely. In this scenario, companies have realized that there's a need to expand their reach throughout the globe. We need to integrate production, finance, marketing, and research activity in a careful way because we need to integrate. In a way, this would mean sending more and more employees overseas, sometimes on a temporary assignment, or sometimes you need to recruit people there. And these things they happen when we send people on such assignments, expatriates, they face unique problems. Therefore, there is a need for us to understand what are the various international aspects, international environment that is going to affect my organization. Let us see a few companies. All of us know about organizations like Nestle. Nestle personifies the stateless corporation with 98% of sales and 96% of employees outside the home country. When you say Nestle, or when I mention Nestle, we are reminded of so many things that are happening. See, when you talk about international environment, when you talk about international organizations, international HRM, these things we are reminded. Nestle's previous global CEO was German born Mascher, and half of the company's general managers are non Swiss. Mascher put strong emphasis on hiring local managers who are native to the region and know the local culture. The combination of strong brands and autonomous regional managers has made the largest branded food company in Mexico, Chile, Brazil, Thailand, Vietnam, China, and I need not talk about India. The CEO, Austrian Peter Brag Letmath, has held important positions all over the world and is leading a totally globalized He has done all these things. The emphasis on this one is this company is employing people from different parts of the country. That is what we are trying to emphasize. Then I did not talk about Coca-Cola. It was sent, was brought in. It is a multinational company that obtains 80% of its operating income from outside United States. It operates in more than 185 markets, has more than 7 lakh employees, and serves more than 5 billion customers. One of the company's value is think globally but act locally. Today we use the word global companies. Then we have other companies. I think if you start thinking from the time you get up from the bed Even after you go to the bed, several companies, several international companies, they play an important role in our lives. From the time when you get up, the type of music that is waking you up. Today, when we talk about cross cultures and all these things, you can find cross cultural music even in music. Cross cultural music today we are finding. The way Suprabhatam is played, I think there what is Suprabhatam has got particular tool they used to play. Today we talk about fusion music, a lot of fusion music. In our bhakti music, a lot of fusion music has come. So there are several companies that are operating from the time we get up from the bed and after we go to the bed also. You have Colgate, Palmolive, we talk about toothpaste, talk about McDonald's, we talk about Chile, we talk about Johnson and Johnson, and I need not talk about the other company. I can show you a picture. And this consists of several companies that are operating. For a long time, we are under the impression whenever we talk about a foreign company or international company, always we were visualizing companies like East India Company, the way we fought and all these things, the way we got independence. But today, the moment we say international companies, I think you can say we have our Infosys, we have a Wipro, Accenture, L&T, Hyundai, Sundaram Finance, Sharp, okay, whatnot. How many companies are there? They have gone at international level. I think our people they are working in these companies. And the top Indian companies which are dominating global market today, we have SBI, Unilever, of course, there's a Unilever, we talk about levers, ICICI, Infosys, HDFC, Tata Consultancy, Reliance, and whatnot. There are several companies, they are playing a vital role. I have given examples of very few companies only. Now, when you operate these organizations at global level, there are several complexities they play a vital role. And these complexities one has to take into cognizance and then he has to design or craft the strategies to manage these things. Or we can say like this, we need to understand the dynamics that are playing at international level or global level. Then we have to think about how to manage these things. Now, what are the complexities that we come across in these global organizations? The first thing, it is not one function. The international operations, they have got several function, within several function, lot of things are involved. Say, if you just take recruitment has several functions, and recruitment has got again recruitment wise in different countries and different kinds of functions. Continuously those things will be going on. Then the second thing, are they homogeneous functions? Absolutely no. There are a lot of heterogeneity that you can find in these companies. For example, only recruitment, the way recruitment is done in our country is different. The way recruitment is done in UAE, it is different. The way it is done, recruitment is done in, I can tell you, European countries, it is different. East uh, and Asian countries, it is different. There are a lot, same function, it is performed in different way in different countries. Then, when When we discuss about these global operations, one of the complexities one has to understand it is not just the employee who is involved. The entire family of employee is involved. My personal life is involved. Not only my personal life, my wife's personal life, my children's personal life, and my parents' life, all these things are intertwined in these global operations. Just imagine a situation. You are taken to a foreign country, might be your spouse is working there, then you are taken from this place to that place. Or let's say he goes to office, you are there. Now, how you spend your time? There are different countries. In some countries, socialization in some countries it is there. In some countries it is there in different forms. Sometimes people think it can't be the way it used to be, like in our Koti and Sultan Bazar. Sometimes it won't be like that. So when you are there, your life is totally, I won't say shattered, but it undergoes a lot of change. Initially, some shocks will be there. Over a period of time, you try to understand. There is a syndrome we talk about, reality shock syndrome, and all these things. More involvement in the employee's personal life, you need to understand. That is the complexity of operating at a global level. Then there are different approaches to management since the population of expatriates and locals varies. See, all of us need to understand that we are trapped in our thinking, or I'll categorically put it, we are trapped in our belief system. The way I want to manage people, the way I want to manage people based on my beliefs. What do I consider about human being? What do I think about them? It's very important. Then there are certain beliefs. I think my place is the best place, my people are the best people, my region is the best region, and the way I'm brought up is the best thing. Now, there are a lot of things involved. So, my approach to manage things, it all depends on my belief system and my value system. So you might be thinking, why is he talking all these things? Let me tell you, in each of the functions of international human resource management, whatever I'm speaking, it will have a profound impact. You can talk about recruitment, you can talk about compensation, you can talk about performance evaluation. Everything is influenced by my belief system. Then it is more complex external influence, such as from societies and government. If I'm operating at a local level, my business is totally different. But when I'm operating at international level, everything that happens, you can think about dollar rate, you can think about oil rate, you can think about the gold rate, you can think about the stock exchanges different countries, you can think about the societies, the way they're undergoing the change, you can think about the changes that are taking place in the government, you can think about the changes that are taking place in the attitude of the government and the belief system of government. Definitely they are going to influence your international HR functions. They are more complex. There are a lot of external things that influence. Then we talk about cultural differences. Oh my God, Recently, I was sharing in one university, I was talking about intercultural communication and how sometimes we are shocked, surprised, taken aback because of so many things that are taking place around us. More cultural difference with completely different languages, the type of food, value systems, belief systems, and way of doing things. Remember, all these things they are going to influence your global operations. Your global operations, therefore, the global HRM is more and more have become complex. Now, to manage this complex global business, what type of competencies that you need to possess? Some of you might have attended my previous sessions. I think I was talking about management and other things. There I was talking about competency based management. See, as a manager, what type of competencies that you need to possess? What type of competencies? Here also, we are talking about when you are managing a transnational organization, multinational organization, global organization. Of course, in fact, there are slight differences in all these things. Maybe in one of the sessions, I'll showing a diagram which talks about how companies they move to these things. But here, what all we need to understand as a transnational corporations manager, what are the skills that you need to possess? Now, what are the skills that are like global perspective? Now, a traditional international manager he used to focus on a single foreign country and on managing relationship between headquarters and that country only. But in a transnational company, competent managers they need to understand worldwide business environment from a global perspective. You can't think just from your country's point of view. You have to understand from different perspective. Then local responsiveness. Then traditionally, you are because you you are operating in only one foreign country and you are supposed to become an expert in one culture. But today you need to learn about the different cultures. Maybe you'll be working in USA for some time. From there, you are shifted to altogether a different country like China, and from there they will move to a country like Japan. When you are operating in these countries, you must learn. You are forced to learn many cultures. Then synergistic learning. Then in the traditional international companies, work with and coach people in each foreign country separately and sequentially, integrate foreigners into headquarters national organization culture. But today things have undergone change. You have to work with and learn from people from many cultures simultaneously. Create a culturally synergistic organizational environment. Now, these are the skills today that you need to have. Then, transition and adaptation. Previously, in traditional international managers, adapt to living in a foreign culture. Today, you need to adapt yourself to live in many foreign cultures, not one culture. Then, cross culture interaction. Use cross-culture interaction skills primarily on foreign assignments. You need all these things when you go to other country. But today you have to use cross-cultural interaction skills on a daily basis throughout one career. All these things are happening because the operations have become so complex. Then collaborations interact with clearly defined hierarchies of structural and cultural dominance. And today you have to interact with foreign colleagues as equal. Yeah, I told you. We are influenced by our values and by our belief systems. What you were believing previously, based on that you were operating in one country, but today it's not like that. You have to understand other people's beliefs also. You may not believe their beliefs, but you need to respect them. Then foreign experience, expatriation or impatriation, primarily to get the job done, just to get job it. I was talking about cultures and all these things. But and today, transportation for career and organization development, these things are required. So I have started with today what we try to do. We try to discuss what the syllabus that we are going to do. Then we have come to unit one that I was talking about uh, the different type of transnational corporations which are born outside our country and operating here also, and even companies which are born in India which are operating outside. Then we have started discussing that these companies, they have a lot of complexities, and to manage these complexities as managers, we need to have lot of competencies. I think some of these things I'm trying to emphasize. Then the international HRM is a new millennium, of course, traditionally conceived and practical leadership skills do not seem to produce results. The leadership skills that are required for the newly emerging global economies seem to be somewhat different. And all those things I was trying to explain. And global organizations, they have subsidiaries in countries outside the home country that rely on the expertise and management capabilities of the team existing in the parent company, where the organization has its main headquarters. Then we have headquarters. Now, against this backdrop, the international HRM, it is concerned itself with all the HRM functions. They are relating to recruitment, selection, training, development, performance management, and appraisal. All these things are done at global level. Now, international human resource management, it happens to be a strategic approach to manage human resources in a global context. Why we spoke about it, it is as a strategic approach because it involves addressing the unique challenges and opportunities that arise when managing a diverse workforce across different countries and cultures. I was discussing all these things. So therefore, you need to have a strategic approach altogether, a different approach when you compare to a domestic HRM. Then international human resource management, it is the process of managing, training, and developing and paying employees in global organizations. Say, why you might be thinking, sir, you are repeating the same thing in different way. Say, what different people think about international human resource management I'm presenting, ultimately we have to sum up. One of the questions that they may likely to ask you is define international HRM, or what are the competencies required to manage people at global level. I think till now whatever I spoke, based on this, some questions may likely to ask you, they may likely to ask you in the examination. Then global HRM, it is a process of recruiting, allocating, and effectively utilizing the human resource in multinational corporations across the national boundaries. Nancy Wong says, international human resource management, it involves carrying out on a worldwide basis activities like candidates recruitment selection, assignment terms and documentation, relocation processing and vendor management, immigration processing, cultural language orientation and training, compensation and administration, payroll processing, tax administration, career planning and development, and handling of spouse and dependent matters. See, what a comprehensive definition Nancy Wong gave about international human resource management. Michael Armstrong, what he says? International human resource management is a process of employing and developing people in international organizations which operate globally. It means working across national boundaries to formulate and implement resource developing, career management, and remuneration strategies, policies, and practices applicable to international workforce. Michael Armstrong is an authority in the area of HRM. He to use a comprehensive definitions. Based on all these things, we can sum up that international human resource management can be defined as the management of human resources in a global context. It involves applying HR principles and practices in order to effectively attract, develop, motivate, and retain employees who work across national boundaries. IHRM recognizes the need to adopt HR strategies, policies, and practices to suit local cultures, legal framework, and business environments of different countries while aligning with the overall strategic objectives of the organization. See, all these definitions, they are too profound, too comprehensive. They talk about various intricacies that are involved in human resource management. Now, we will discuss in the exam. They can also ask you that why there is so much significance to HRM, IHRM, or what are the reasons for the growth of IHRM? There are five basic reasons that I would like to put forward. One is there is something called globalization. You may like it, dislike it. You may go to your past. If you ask elderly people, always they are in the past, they think their past is always good. And there is, but the fact you need to admit is today our world happens to be globalized world. We are connected, and a lot of and this connectivity has facilitated doing business, ease of business. Of course, when I use the word ease of business, you might be thinking in different context, but network globalization has facilitated several things. That is the reason today you have to think about international human resource management. Then the next thing that you need to think about is shortage of human resource with international exposure. Today you have there are two things I talk about. Having ability is something. Second one is willingness to move. These are the two important things. Some people who are willing to move, they don't have abilities. And the people who have these abilities, they are not willing to move. And and there is a depth of human resources. When we talk about human resource, all of us know, I've been telling you, we talk about what appears outside, what is latent. There are certain things which you cannot see. There are only a few things that you can see. We talk about attitudes, skills, and knowledge. Attitude sometimes that is exhibited, but we find it very difficult. Then there are certain things which are visible, certain things which are not visible. And if you have to call a person or put him under human resource, you have to consider his attitudes, his skills, and knowledge. Sometimes you need to include their habits also. There is a depth of these things. And the third important thing, see, there are significant number of cases where I can tell you several abuses that are being done in local countries. I think you can take up a lot of things where when you go to a foreign country, the way you are treated is different, and companies, when they come to our countries, the way they treat local people, it is different. There are significant number of cases. Therefore, today there is a reason for the growth of IHRM. Then we talk about failure of international operation. It might be very easy for you to start your operations at international level, but the problem comes when there's a failure. It is not. It won't be just failure. That operation failure will spell out a great disaster on the entire company. Therefore, you have to be very careful. Any small thing that goes wrong, it will have impact on the entire organization. Then there are other things like difference in people, difference in processes, tax computation, and other things. All these things they influence. Therefore, there is a growth for this. The growth or the reason for us to discuss about is international human resource management. Then, quickly, how much time we have? Can someone say? Still from okay, I don't mind. After discussing this one, I close. I will wind up. What are the features of international human resource management? Right people at the right positions. You might be thinking, I think this is what we have been taught from the beginning. But irrespective of geographical location, you need to understand you have to keep right people, you have to place right people at the right position. We have to do that. You can't ignore. See, that country is not a developed I think it's a still developing countries or underdeveloped countries. We can do whatever we want. That won't happen. We have to put right people at the right position, irrespective of the geographical location. The second feature of international human resource management is it requires the development of a long-term HR plan to make sure of an effective alignment of HR strategy with the corporate objective. Say, You have got headquarters. Headquarters has got certain objectives. It has got a vision, mission. Then we talk about it is having objectives, objectives for different functions, and whatever long-term plans that you are having, all these things need to be aligned with those things. And the third thing, international HRM requires development of a diversified range of skills for employees, for those who need to work beyond national boundaries. Because see, these skills are not enough. Even ability to understand, assimilate different cultures, they are required. Then necessitate international human resource management. It necessitates determination of compensation. Compensation is again a complicated, tricky issue. For host, home, and third, these three terms I'll explain tomorrow. Country nationals on the basis of specific factors. Then it requires the creation of centralized reporting relationships around the world for faster information, because it is not located in one place. You should have a continuous centralized reporting system relations you need to develop, then that only gives. Then it requires introduction of formal and informal methods to integrate different parts of global business effectively. Then, international human resource management requires the development of a well organized evaluation system. We talk about evaluation systems, performance evaluation system, how should be there, who should evaluate, what's the basis for them to evaluate, what are the various things that you need to take into consideration. All these things you have to keep them. Then communication among all the parts of the organization is required in international organization. Then ultimately, the perceived value of the HR activities generally varies across the different locations of international companies. Now, what do you think about HR system? What do you think about HR department? How much importance you are giving? It all depends on the company's different companies, countries where it is located. A company might be having location in different countries. Each country, how much emphasis or importance is giving, I think these things will be assigned to HR department. I think it's time for me to stop. I think it's 4:03. Am I correct, sir? Radhakrishna garu? I think till what time they have given session, Amma? Anyone can. Huh? Is it 3 to 4? Can someone tell? Is it from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 to 4.
Okay, thank you, sir. Then I'll close. Is it okay?
Yes, okay, sir. Fine.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
thank you.